Now, today was yet another day that Kenyans were expecting for the Gen Z protests to take to the streets. And of course, we have one of our reporters, Ian Ketanyi, who's in the CBD and has been following up to get the proceedings on how the mood is. Ian, talk to us.
Well, thank you very much, Alan. Just like you've said, I am at the Central Business District, to be specific, along the Kenyatta Avenue here in the capital. And like we all expected, the Gen Z protesters were today supposed to march to the Central Business District to, of course, honor those who lost their lives, it being the 25th of July 2024, a month after the day when protesters invaded Parliament. Now, we've not seen, the presence of those protesters or those who are here to honor their fallen colleagues, but instead we've seen a heavy contingent of police officers right here, not only along the Kenyatta Avenue, but also along Moi Avenue and also Tom Mboya. But just to be specific, and before I continue, I just want my camera person to just give you a glimpse of what is happening right here, because just behind me you can see there's a police lorry, and of course officers are here just to ensure that everything runs smoothly right here in the capital, the Central Business District rather. Now, one thing that the protesters were supposed to do today, those who are supposed to honor those who lost their lives during the protest held on the 25th of June 2024, is that they were supposed to, of course, carry flowers as well as photos of their heroes and the national flag. Thereafter, they were supposed to present a petition at the office over the president along Harambee Avenue before proceeding to Parliament to lay a wreath to, of course, honor those who lost their lives. But the route leading to the National Assembly has been cordoned off. We've seen presence of police officers who are just manning the area, and no cars are allowed to pass along that stretch coming from Harambee Avenue all the way to Uhuru Highway. So we're still waiting to see if at all the Gen Z protesters who are coming to honor those who lost their lives will be here. Of course, this comes just a day after President William Ruto, named his final batch of cabinet nominees, which included 4 nominees from the Orange Democratic Movement. So this is something that, of course, the youth, of course, rejected and said this is not what the president termed as, of course, a broad-based, like he said, because in his own words, he said this is a broad-based government. But people are waiting to see and, hear the reaction of those in the Azimio coalition, because we all saw that all those who were nominated from the opposition coalition were members of the Orange Democratic Movement. Now, not only members of the Orange Democratic Movement, but senior figures or key figures in the party, because Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya and Ali Hassan Joho, the former governor of Mombasa, are deputy leaders, deputy party leaders, the deputies of Azimio leader Raila Odinga. Now, apart from the two, we've also seen John Mbadi, who's the chairperson of the ODM party, as well as James Opiyo Wandayi, who's the leader of Minority. Now, if, of course, they are approved by the National Assembly, with the vetting process set to begin on the 1st of August to the 4th of August, that is the coming week, then we'll be of course, forced again to see even a by-election in Ugunja constituency to pick the successor of James Opiyo Wandayi. That again will leave a door open for the opposition coalition to pick the successor, the person who will take the mantle over from James Opiyo Wandayi as the minority leader in the National Assembly. We've seen factions in the ODM party, one led by, of course, the likes of Mbadi, who are pro the move by President William Ruto to nominate those in the ODM party. But of course, we've seen the SG Edwin Sifuna talk about how those who've been nominated do not have or did not get the blessings of the party. Now, that begs the question, who is following who and what happens next? Because we've seen the likes of Peter Kaluma, slamming SG Edwin Sifuna. So we'll be also waiting to see what happens. But in the meantime, we'll be pitching tent here in the capital Nairobi just to get an understanding and see whether those who are supposed to be here rather, because they were supposed to meet at Kimathi Street at around 11 a.m. this particular morning, whether they'll still be coming to honor those who lost their lives on the 25th or not. Remember, that particular day was a very fateful day, because the protesters made their way to Parliament, forcing legislators to run for their safety. Now, that day, the motive of the protesters was to occupy Parliament, which they did, and that led to the president dropping the finance bill. Then after that, the president, of course, dissolved his cabinet, leading to the nomination of new members. But in the new nominations, the president, of course, brought back some of the CSs who served in the previous cabinet, top among them Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, who is now the nominee for sports and of course youth affairs. We've also seen the likes of Salim Vuya coming back, Rebecca Miano, Justin Muturi was the former AG, who is now the a CSO. We are still waiting to hear as well from those who will come out, and even the youth just here in the Central Business District, what they have to say in regards to the cabinet nominations made by President William Ruto yesterday. Alan.
Very well, Ian, thank you for that update. Moving on, Kakamega County has launched a social protection grant to provide financial support to women's and youth groups to help them achieve economic self-sufficiency. County Governor Fernandez Baraza has to this end, urged the beneficiaries to use the funds wisely to implement their proposed projects and boost their income. A total of 900 groups have benefited from the 50 million shilling fund, with each ward receiving support for 15 groups. The initiative focuses on empowering women, individuals with disabilities, and young people.
Na kuelekeza kama baba yetu
wale ambao ni majensis wetu youth, vyama viine vya youth in every ward pia wako katika ile orodha, na vyama 9 ni vyama za kina mama. So in total tumeguza kila ward katika mradi huu ambao tumeanzisha leo, na hii itakuwa ndio mtindo kila mwaka. Wale ambao hawajafaidika, mwaka ujao mtapata nafasi ya kupata grants pia. Na hiyo pesa ambayo inaenda katika vyama zetu zote sio pesa ya kutumia kwa kibinafsi. Najua kila project ambayo mmesema mtafanya, ofisi ya waziri Moffat itahakikisha all those projects ambazo mmesema mtafanya tuko na accountability. So hii pesa ambayo tunapatiana leo hamutalipa, lakini we want accountability ili tuone projects ambazo mnaanzisha ni project ambazo zafaidi kina mama, vijana na pia ndugu zetu ambao wanaishi na ulemavu.
Retired Kenya Defence Forces officers under the umbrella of Kenya Veterans for Peace have extended a helping hand to their fellow retirees and the families of officers who died in service in Kisumu County. Speaking while distributing assorted food items to the families to cushion them during the ongoing challenging economic times, Nelson Sechere, Executive Director of Kenya Veterans for Peace, said the beneficiaries, mostly widows to the fallen ex-defense soldiers, are calling on the government to review the 5-year duration they wait to receive pension money once their husbands die in the line of duty, saying it's little compared to the service offered by the veterans.
Veterans have worked for the Kenyans before. And if you look at the elders when they retire from service, some of them live in very deplorable means, very poor standards of life. It doesn't promote the dignity of a military officer. So when we formed this insurance 19 years ago, one thing that we focused on mostly is to see that we are working with the welfare. Today we are here in Kisumu County to give food to at least 150 families.
The Defence Forces Act, which came into effect a few years ago, in 2020 to be precise, June, after having been signed by President Uhuru Kenyatta, has addressed numerous issues, among them widows, and of course the health of veterans. What remains now is coordination, actualization of those things contained in the act.
Mzee wangu alikuwa kwa unit ya Signal Kawa Garrison. Alifanya kwa miaka nyingi, na mimi ninaomba serikali yetu. Imagine bwanangu aliretire mwaka wa 2003, akaaga 2005. Ni miaka 2 tu alikula mshahara zake za retirement pension. Sasa hizo pension zote zimeenda wapi? Mimi nikakula miaka 5.
When you have an opportunity to be together, it reminds us of our past, and we are indeed very happy to see that our fellow soldiers are going on with life.
Well, that's just about it for K24 News. Thank you for making time for the segment. I'm Alan Owino. Our sign language interpreter for this session was Clement Muli. Coming right up next is Jungu La Sporty. Stick around for that. You have yourselves a lovely day.